Everyone, Marianne Hauk here. Today's video is about if you never ask, the answer is always going to be no. So I'm kind of walking around my neighborhood here. It's a beautiful day here. It's a little crisp, but the sun's out, and it's definitely fall, which I love. It's like my favorite season, actually. So anyway, several months ago, like back in the spring, there was something going on weird with my car. I have a Volkswagen Jetta, and it was like 2.5 years old at the time. And all of a sudden it started stopping and at like stop signs and stoplights and just dying for no reason. So I would be able to restart it and keep going, but it was just the weirdest thing. So I called the VW place and I told them what was going on, and they said, bring it in, blah, blah. So I bring it in, and they call me later and say, oh, you need a new fuel pump. I'm like, well, that's kind of weird. It's not an old car, 2.5 years and the fuel pump already goes out. And they said, yeah, that's not uncommon, So I'm like, all right, whatever. You guys, hopefully know what you're doing, right? So, so I bring it in, and they replace the fuel pump and do a couple of little things, and everything was covered, which was good. So I didn't have to pay anything. So I go and pick it up, and the next day I'm getting gas, and so I'm at the gas station, and I'm, filling my tank, and then as I'm getting in my car, I go around to get in my car, I hear this, ma'am, don't get in your car, and I'm like, what? And I'm looking around, this guy's like running towards my car, and he says, don't get in your car. He goes, look. He goes, so we walked around back to the pump where I was filling it on the other side, and there was a huge puddle of gas under my car that had leaked out when I was filling it. And I'm like, oh my God. So I'm like, okay, what do I do? So luckily I didn't start the car, because any little spark and it would have caught the whole undercarriage of my car on fire. And thank God my kids weren't in the car. It was just me. So I'm like, I told the guy, I said, I just picked it up from the VW place yesterday. I just had the fuel pump replaced. What the hell, So he helps me push it out of the way and into it's near Safeway. So we push into the Safeway parking lot, and they have to come, the workers have to come out and block that pump, and they have to clean it all up. Obviously, they don't want anybody driving around, and I could just see somebody walking by with a cigarette or something, right? So, so I called VW. So I got all that. It was a huge mess, and I had to figure all that out. But so now it's been, well, at that time I had about 8 months left on my lease. I had a 3-year lease, so it's coming up in the end of November. So it's got here pretty quick. So at the time, I told the guy, I said, at VW, they were very apologetic and blah, blah, blah. I talked to the GM many times, and we wrote letters, emails and stuff, and I said, what are you guys going to do about this? Because this is ridiculous. That could have been a huge catastrophe. Somebody really could have gotten very injured. Like I said, thank God my kids weren't with me. But then they were afraid to go gas with me after that. So, so when I brought it in and they looked at it and called me that day, they said that the fuel pump had a pinch in the seal where they had put it in. So basically, they didn't check it and test it before they let me pick the car up. Which, I had talked to the service manager and the GM of the dealership, and they said they always test everything. And I'm like, well, obviously they didn't test this one. So the service manager said, there was going to be disciplinary actions taken, whoever the service guy that did, and that's not what I wanted to happen. It wasn't like I wanted to get somebody fired or something, but I did want something to be done, because I didn't want this to happen again to somebody else and then, actually have something happen where, somebody got hurt or something. So, going back and forth for a couple weeks with the service guys, and I'm like, I want to trade my car in now. What are you guys going to do for me? My lease isn't up till November. So I kind of went back and forth, thought about it, and I said, what, I already paid for this. I did like a prepaid lease, so I already had paid for the 3 years. So I thought, well, what, I still have 8 months left. I'll go ahead and keep this car, and then when the time comes, we'll negotiate and do something different. So, like I said, my lease is coming up in November, at the end of the month, and so I'm getting ready now to write a letter to the GM to, refresh his memory about everything that happened back in the spring. And they said they put it in the file, and they said, whenever you're ready, let us know, and we'll work something out. So back then, they wanted to put me into Volkswagen CC, which is obviously higher, and it's an upgrade from my Jetta. But I didn't want to pay any money out of pocket. I don't want a car payment. I've never had a car payment. I don't want one now. So I said, no, I'm not going to do that. You got to do a little better than that, right? So then I thought, well, I'll just keep the car, like I said, since I already paid for the lease. And then come October, November time frame, I'll get in touch with you again, and we'll figure something out then. So my point is, if you don't ask, the answer is always going to be no. So I've told my kids this all the time. And I used to tell my ex-husband this all the time, too, because he's always afraid to ask for things. And it's like, how do you know what they're going to say? You don't assume you know they're going to say no. You got to ask for it first, or you're never going to know, right? And I do this a lot. I ask for things all the time, in certain, I can't think of one right now, in certain situations. And then, it's funny because I'll usually get it, and it's like, oh, see, all you had to do is ask. I mean, so you can't be afraid to ask, right? So I'm going to be writing a letter here shortly, probably next week, and I'm going to tell them exactly what I want. And then I'm going to say, well, first I'm going to start off with Mark's tactic where he says, if you were me, what would you do? I think that's awesome. I love that. I haven't had a situation to use it yet, but this is going to be my situation where I'm going to use it. And I will make a follow-up video to this and let everybody know what happened, because I know what I want. So I know what I want them to do for me because of this situation. So I'm going to ask for it. And I will most likely get it. So I will do a follow-up email or a follow-up video and let everybody know what happened. But it won't be for a little while. So that's my video for today. This is 20. Oh, I think I'm on 25. Woohoo! I'm a quarter away there. But it's gone by so fast. It's amazing. And I'm using my little video stick. See? Whee! Which is awesome. I love this thing. I'm actually on my way to school right now to videotape somebody. We're doing a Project Cornerstone thing at my kid's school, which is anti-bullying. So I'm the second grade reader in my daughter's class, but my girlfriend is doing 5th grade, which she has a daughter and I have a son in that class. So she's reading today for 5th grade. So I'm going to go and videotape it, and I'm using this awesome video stick, as we call it. So anyway, hope everybody has a great day, and we'll talk soon. Bye.